Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. We're talking with Avital Miller about her book, Healing Happens. And we just started talking about how important it is to use the right words to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that healing nervous system. And another factor was food. Now, what are the other factors to get into the parasympathetic nervous system? It's a tongue breaker.
Yeah, okay. So we said focus on positive thoughts, and we said food. Speaking supportive words, right? That's the next level of our thoughts. And the sound has its own vibrational frequency as well. So that's going to have another level of impact than just our thoughts. Keeping promises to ourselves.
That is a fascinating one, isn't that? I mean, that I love so much because it's so simple and it's such a common mistake most of us make, that we are saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat better, drink less, go to the gym, call my friend, and we do nothing of it, break our promises all the time. We would definitely be disappointed if anyone else would do this for or to us, but somehow we do this over and over again, just as if we don't really matter as much. So yeah, I love that point.
Yeah, we have to be able to trust our own selves. And I feel one of the things that I've done with this, because maybe everyone does this every year, we create our New Year's resolutions and do we follow through with them? And after a few years of doing that, I finally just said, well, I've had this on my New Year's resolution for the past 5 years and I haven't done it. Am I really going to do it? So it's also just not making promises that you don't feel you're actually going to keep. I'm in a coaching program right now, and my coach is about to talk to me and tell me what's going to be like your challenge for the next 30 days, like some different shift you're going to commit to. And so really been thinking about it. I mean, yes, what do I want to shift, but what am I actually going to do? What am I going to follow through with? So what promise can I keep to myself? And then the last one is wisely choose the company you keep. And when we're talking about, again, all of these vibrational influences and how sensitive the body is, I have a very sensitive body, right? That's why I've had health issues. That's why I'm still working on them. And on very subtle levels, if I am having a challenging relationship, I will feel the impacts in my body. And it's a huge reason for me to work on having good relationships and sometimes not having people in my life who are not willing to come to a place of harmony and peace and joy with me.
I think that's not only for our day-to-day lives important, that's especially important when it is about healing. I always remember, actually there were several clients that I worked with that came to me because of an illness. And one of them had Crohn's disease, and which is an autoimmune disease of basically your intestinal tract. And when we worked on the onset and when it all started, it really became clear that it was happening the day her husband asked her to marry her. And since ever then, when they got along, she had kind of smooth sailing. When they were fighting, it was a flare up. And it just got really clear to her that the relationship was a major trigger for her body to attack itself. And unfortunately, or fortunately, she couldn't heal until she actually separated. And once she separated, her system just readjusted. So yes, I mean, we can call it toxic, draining, or simply relationships we are not in harmony with are really important to address, either to resolve or to also let go of.
Yeah, it's
So
very
I'm
important.
wondering about, in your book, what would you say was like you have studied, researched, looked for your own healing and health in regards to tools and insights, but what in the book was surprising you? What would you say, like you heard that, oh my God, I have never thought about that?
Gosh, I mean, what was surprising me? I'm trying to think. But I'll tell you the story that was the most surprising to me.
Great.
I already had a sense of belief that this could be possible. And there's aspects of her story of what she learned in the process of this, which also become surprising lessons to learn. And you were talking earlier about a doctor saying, you have 6 to 8 weeks to live. And Maureen Bell was given that prognosis when she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a type of cancer. And, before that, she was just sort of growing up and who she was into natural healing and green design and plants and animals. And she also was a type A personality. So she kept pushing. She was in a wheelchair and she still kept pushing to the point that she passed out. And then that's when she got the diagnosis. And 6 to 8 weeks later, just like those doctors had predicted, she was on her deathbed. She was just this little 85-pound woman, couldn't get up, morphine patches, oxygen tubes, no appetite. And the doctors did believe she was going to die any moment. Her son came to visit to say goodbye, and she thought she could hold on till he came and then she could leave. But his son had a different idea than those doctors. His son, as he was leaving, said, what happened? You were this strong, independent, single mom who raised me and is into natural healing. Why didn't you fight? Why didn't you fight? He leaves. She's sitting there and, oh my gosh, do I have a choice? A choice? And she went into, this is where it gets more extreme, but a lot of people would call this a near-death experience. But it's that feeling where you feel what we might call unconditional love. You feel surrounded in light, like you feel amazing. She also felt like she could see her body separate from herself. And then she heard this beautiful voice in her ear saying, choice. Choice.
Yes.
And go back into that body that's so unhealthy and challenged and all that pain. And the voice says, well, why don't you ask? She asks, and the body's like, yeah, let's do this. like a excited child. And she's okay. And here's what also was happening. As she was leading up to that day, she was having a dream where it was like her body was splitting into two of her and they were going down two different paths. She wakes up from that experience and for the first time in months didn't feel pain and felt hungry. She had a sense of knowing inside her that she was going to heal. And that dream went back to one body walking down one path. What she had gathered while she was having that near-death experience, because she was having a conversation for a while with this voice, sort of gaining understanding. One of the things that she learned is that those two things, one was her body and one was her soul. And they're like soulmates. And here we are all the time looking for a soulmate outside of us, and it's actually right there in us. And she needed to learn how to listen to her body better. And that's what she did in her healing process. So she didn't have like this vegan diet, like Coach Rubin would recommend for the diabetes. She just tuned in intuitively in each moment. And that's why the path of healing is so unique and different for each of us. So those of you who love me, maybe you don't need to give it up. Don't worry. There's a different path for everyone. Another interesting thing that she gathered, there's so much wealth of information from this chapter. What she gathered was that cancer was a virus and that you could tell it to leave. And this is important because right now, when everyone is dealing with the coronavirus and we're going home and we're saying, I'm going to hide from the virus, instead of stepping out and saying, leave, go, not welcome here, thanks for visiting, no thank you. Choosing what's going to happen in your bodies, in your lifestyle, in your environment, in your world. The choice that's been given to the world right now is let the virus take over. It has control. You go home and hide from it. Instead of saying, maybe we have more power over this situation. Maybe there's more power in our minds and our thoughts. Maybe we have more power over what's sitting in our bodies. It's such a huge lesson for me when I'm talking about the Epstein-Barr virus. It's like, okay, I'll just tell it to go. You create more of that power in myself, right? I watch the tests of all the results that I get with all the doctors, and they get better and they get better and they get better. I know we're going to go on a break soon. There's one more interesting thing which I can share quickly that happened with her story. She had another round of chemo that was scheduled. First, she's thinking, I don't need it. And then she realizes, no, I'll go through with it, and I want to research what's in it. The first drug she looks up is made from vincastrine, vinca plant, periwinkle, her favorite plant. She looks the derivatives of all the other drugs and has a different relationship going into this as she normally would. Maybe I should leave you all on a cliffhanger and I'll tell you what happens with that after the break.
Okay, let's do just that. All right, we will be right back. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.